GrowingDeer.tv is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops, also by Reconics, Trophy Rock, Muddy Outdoors, Non-Typical Wildlife Solution, Eagle Seed, Nikon, Winchester, Scentmaster, Dead Downwind, Antler Dirt, Lacrosse Footwear, Redneck Hunting Blind, Blood Sport Arrows, Prime Bows by G5, Outdoor Edge 9, and Flatwood Natives.
It's an awesome time of year to be in the stand because you never know what you'll see. Adam and I were in a tree stand Saturday morning enjoying the beautiful fall colors. Deer activity had been slow, so we were really excited when we caught movement. A bobcat was stalking his way through the timber, and he had no idea we were in his world. His path literally took him directly below our tree stand and gave Adam and I an awesome opportunity to observe this cat in his natural habitat. Bobcats are such cool critters, and they're amazing hunters. You may remember the episode last week where we showed you a bobcat swimming across a small pond trying to get up on a buck that Seth was filming.
What's that in the pond?
Fortunately for the buck, he blew the cover of that bobcat and was able to escape with his life. Bobcats are super skilled predators and extremely tuned in to their surroundings. It's tough to see a bobcat in the wild, and getting footage of bobcats 2 weeks in a row, well, that's quite a privilege. It's a time of year when deer behavior changes, primarily due to the rut. When most hunters use the term rut, they're talking about the peak of rut, that week or two when the most does in an area are receptive and bucks are chasing everywhere. Throughout most of the whitetails range, the peak of the rut occurs the first week or two of November. That's when about 50% or more of the does in an area will be bred. Recently, Brad from Wisconsin shared some incredible Reconics pictures that really define what all of us hunters want to see during the peak of the rut. This mature buck tended a doe in the edge of a wide open field for a long time. Even better, you can clearly see the hunter's blind not too far behind this buck and doe. During the peak of the rut, does are the primary attraction, not food, cover, or water. We often have to adjust our hunting strategies and locations appropriately. A good strategy for hunting the rut would seem as simple as finding an area where you commonly see does. But one thing that throws a monkey wrench in that strategy is that when a doe is receptive, she tends to behave totally different. So you go to the food plot where you've been seeing 5 does every afternoon, and all of a sudden you're only seeing 4. Probably because that one doe that's receptive is in a different part of her home range or even outside of her normal home range. Scientists have been putting GPS collars on deer for over a decade now. One finding that really intrigues me as a hunter is that GPS collars clearly show that both bucks and does tend to take trips out of the core area and or home range during the rut. Remember, receptive does are the biggest attraction during that time of year, and bucks are following that, and that throws the ability to predict where bucks are going to be out the window. To take advantage of these big changes in behavior, I like to hunt 2 areas. I like to hunt dense bedding areas that I can see into, or I like to hunt well-known travel corridors that lead from one bedding area or cover area to another. Several times I've observed does going in thick cover with a group of bucks chasing her. Clearly she's a receptive doe. It seems like she goes in thick cover allows the mature buck to keep the other bucks at bay, so she's not constantly pestered as she would be running across open areas. 2 years ago, on the opening day of rifle season here in Missouri, we were after a buck we called the Trash Man. Once again, we're hunting a thick bedding area and saw him several times chasing a doe in that bedding area. The area was so thick, we just couldn't get off a shot.
I've lost him.
And again last year, Adam and I were in Kentucky on the opening day of their gun season, set up over a small young pine stand, thinking that a doe would come in there seeking cover, and that's exactly what happened as we watched several bucks, including a nice 3-year-old, try to pin a doe down in that cover. During the rut, it's a given that a mature buck is going to be with a receptive doe, and receptive does likely want to be in thick cover. So why waste your time somewhere else? Get to a vantage point where you can see into or close to thick cover and let that doe bring the bucks to you. During the pre and post rut, there'll still be a few does be receptive, but not all over the place. And that's a time period when bucks will cruise food plots or other areas trying to pick up a doe.
Stop, buddy, stop.
There's no mystery to when the peak of the rut occurs, because when does are harvested in the late season and the fetuses inside them are measured, we can accurately date back to when that doe was bred. We use a ruler developed by Joe Hamilton, the founder of the Quality Deer Management Association, and place the fetus on that ruler, look at the date, and simply backdate to the point of conception. It may be fun to sit around the hunting camp and argue if moon phase determines when deer breed, but if you're scheduling your vacation on that, you better hope the weather is good for that week, because I can assure you without a shadow of a doubt, phases of the moon do not determine when deer breed. If you'd like to learn more about the research behind this, simply go to QDMA.com. They've recently published a great article about the research done on the peak of the rut. Researchers have looked at literally thousands of fetuses from different states for several years in a row and determined exactly when the rut occurred at those locations. And it did not vary, even though the moon phase varied year for year at that location. Hey YouTube fans, do you like this type of information? Then simply go to GrowingDeer.tv and check out our blog each week as we share scientific results and break it down so we can all be better hunters. I hope you use this information to enjoy better days afield, but more importantly, take time each day to be still and listen to what the Creator is saying to you. Thanks for watching GrowingDeer.tv.